Yes, yeah.
Now, do you remember who played Mrs. Popey's son?
This is my son, William.
I do. His name was Charles Laurie, your son, Charlie, your firstborn, and my godson. And he was as good as gold, asleep upstairs, waiting.
He was. Well, we assumed that he would be awake when he came onto the set, but actually, while waiting, he fell asleep, bless him. And so when he was brought on in the bright lights and the pair of us shouted...
I had to shout it. We both shouted.
We both shouted.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a bit of a naughty boy, William, haven't you? Ask him what he's done with the stuff. Yeah, what have you done with the stuff? Scumbag!
And then, as a result of that, I got a huge number of letters from people with very odd ideas. It's quite plain that you were using needles to provoke this reaction. What's in your head that you would think that anybody could stick needles? So strange.
One of the things about the way we worked was a sort of pride and a mad, stubborn, stiff-necked insistence that every sketch was a new and original sketch, which, of course, most sketch comedy is. So we didn't have, in the way that the Fast Show does and almost all sketch shows these days, have standard characters that you basically wrote the same sketch about. I mean, you know, and it's not criticism. Well, it sort of is, but... A little bit. But, I mean, they're funny. I mean, they're great.
Oh, they're funny. That's not the problem. No. I mean, not that there's a problem.
Our problem was we didn't see the virtue of doing that. We only very rarely had returning characters.
Yeah.
So every time we'd written a sketch, no matter how good it was, we were back to square one again.
Yeah.
We had to
There's
start
no momentum
again.
inside.
No momentum.
Damn it, Peter, you're right!
The notable exception to this was Peter and John, the small-time businessmen who talked big and drank bigger.
John, are you out of your goddamn mind? You don't know what it's about, Peter. Well, the hell with what it's about, John. Peter, we need to talk. Where and when? Round the table right now. I'm on my way.
You don't dislike them. You want to dislike them, but you can't. You kind of end up these arses. These men are arses, but charming. It's quite brilliant, that, isn't it?
Damn it, John, you're not listening to me. I'm talking about the big idea, the dream that you and I shared. The dream of a health club that would put the town of Uttoxeter on the goddamn map.
There's this thing about, Hugh, that would be me, music.
Yes.
You can skip over this if you want.
No, come on. You did. I mean, it was one of the features of it. Pythons had Terry Gilliam, and we too had you, as it were. I mean, you know, it just made every difference. And some of the songs you wrote for that, Mystery is still... You've done that since, haven't you? Many times. It is a fabulous song.
Mystery. All my life has been a mystery. You and I were never ever meant to be.
I don't think people realise that the musical pastiches on Fry and Laurie are all written by Hugh Laurie. Amazing stuff.
Estuary. I live in a houseboat on an estuary.
I would describe Hugh as, I suppose, a quiet genius. He plays the piano brilliantly, which he's very shy about, but he really is great.
America.
I suppose I'll be saying Hitler was a racist next.
I walked into a shop the other day. 14 stitches.
Do you remember where the idea of Vox Pops came from?
No, I don't. I suppose we were aware of the need for something just fast, silly, little one-jokey things.
Interstitials, I believe they're called.
Are they called interstitials? That's a good word for them.
Well, we had our first child on the NHS. And had to wait 9 months. Can you believe it?
A week or two before we started the rehearse record procedure, we'd go onto the street, wouldn't we? And often we just made up as we went along.
Because we had a lot of other stuff to write, so we got behind.
And I started with the hat.
People are often mistaking me for Luther Vandross.
For me, the hat told me what to say.
Key to the character, the hat speaks to you. The hat speaks your line.
It actually spoke my lines.
Really beautiful story. Are we getting all this? Are we getting this?
Can't seem to find a flush or a handle.
So that's your process?
Yes. And with you?
I would start with your hat. Yes.
£20. So I said, I'll toss you for it. And he said, what would you do for 50?
How much importance do you think we placed on names, on rude names, frankly, rude names? Do you get pleasure in rude names?
Oh, yes.
For example, Mr. Come in My Ear, Mr. Nipple, Mr. Pepperdine, Mr. Popey, Mr. Drip, Dr. Midgery Marjorie. Doctors are always good.
Yes.
Chief Inspector Venice, I don't remember that.
For instance, we've got a letter here. Dear Mr. Fry and Laurie, there is a man who comes to wash my windows once a month whose name is Javillian Swike. It always makes me laugh a great deal. That was sent in by Mr. Suckmaster Bursting Foam of Ipswich.
They're the masters of kind of broadcasting guideline loopholes, aren't they?
All right, so other men have got larger plums, salaries and better prospects, and other men can boast a healthier-looking stool.
See, watch any of those sketches and you just have to love the English language.
Let's face it, we haven't slept together for years. You know, the best I can hope for is a bit of savoury finger.
And the barman sketch in which Stephen keeps offering a drunk increasingly odd and stupid nibbles to eat illustrates, A, how rich the English language is.
And naturally, she won't let me give her so much as a good juicy tongue in the back passage.
And B, how much Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie just adored it.
The trouble with that woman is that she's just a rather disgusting-looking tart that should have been disposed of ages ago.
But so much of their humour is actually filth, isn't it? It's the lowest common denominator.
It's always been...
Toilet nonsense.
It's always been...
It's all moist, hard, poo, bottoms. You know, I don't think he's that clever.
A friendship like Stephen and Hugh's that's endured 30 years is rare. But as Stephen recalls, there was once one tricky episode.
Hugh and I were writing, and we write every day, Monday to Friday, and we'd give ourselves the weekend off. Well, I was asked if I would present a documentary on the Chess Olympiad in Thessalonica, Greece. And it was great because it was only 4 days. It was Friday to Monday. So I for some reason said to Hugh, I can't make Friday because I've got something or other. Anyway, the point is he found out. He found out that what I was actually doing was flying to Greece and making a documentary and coming back on Monday night. And so basically it was a long weekend off the writing, the Friday and the Monday. It was not that big a deal. But it was, as parents say to their children, it was the fact that you lied. So he was furious. But it had an upside because it was a letter when I got back that was saying, and it said, because it's as if you don't realise how much I love you. He said, he used that word, and I thought, it's so un-Hugh to talk like that. Men don't talk like that to each other. But so it was actually a rather wonderful breakthrough in a way, because it was sweet.
As the story moves to the present day, a recent point of difference is Stephen and Hugh's contrasting attitudes to technology.
He's possibly the worst email correspondent in the history of the planet. I probably myself deal with 10 or 20 emails a week, which are, why won't Hugh answer my emails from other people who are close friends of his, like, what's the matter? Why have I offended you? No, you haven't offended him. You haven't offended him. He doesn't, you'll get one, don't worry.
If he ever asks you to come and look at a computer screen while he shows you something, I'm saying to you now, run for your life.
He's not made for this modern world of constant communication. I mean, he has a smartphone, he has a BlackBerry, and he uses it. But I don't know what he uses it for, because it's certainly not to email anyone I know.
1995 marked the end of a 3-year break from their sketch show. In the meantime, Stephen and Hugh had become household names after starring in the very popular primetime series Jeeves and Wooster.
Right, well, I'm getting back into that sitting room now, Jeeves, and I'm going to put in some pretty tense thinking.
Very good, sir. Shall I wake you at 6, sir?
Yes. No, Jeeves.
I don't think anybody could do Jeeves and Wooster still now. It just completely defines our take on those books now.
47 ginger-headed sailors coming home across the briny sea. When the anchor's weighed and the journey's made, yes, they'll stop the party with a heave-ho-me-hearty.
It was kind of an opportunity that was too good to miss, really. It was sort of like the parts they were, I suppose, at that point, born to play.
Really speaks to me, that song, you know, Jeeves.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
Would you like to hear the rest of it?
I shouldn't like to put you to any trouble, sir.
Between desire and reality.
A bit.
Between fact and breakfast.
Now they were A-list stars, the BBC decided it was time to revive a bit of Fry and Laurie and move it to mainstream BBC One.
Pretension by Fry and Laurie.
Fourth series of A Bit... I've got to stop doing that, because that's really annoying. Now, the fourth series of A Bit of Fry and Laurie moved to BBC One. What differences did that make manifest?
Guestage.
I hereby declare this second episode of A Bit of Fry and Laurie open.
Yes, that was Madge from Neighbours. And look, here's one very young Caroline Quentin.
Jesus, suffering arse, this bloody door!
I don't understand.
Don't understand? Don't understand what, you hopeless saucer of pus? It's a freak mothering door, and it keeps getting vomiting stuck. That's all there is to understand. It's not differential calculus.
Andrew!
How have you done, you pointless tart? You've broken the snotting banister.
I was so thrilled. I was hugely honoured and actually rather out of my depth. And I remember the whole time thinking, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Sorry.
Sorry?
Yes. Sorry I didn't hit you with a sock full of gravel, you flabby, drivelling waste of clothes.
And then realising that actually when we were filming, what I was doing there was basically laughing all the time.
Wendy, darling!
Wendy, darling! Oh, darling, your arse with a rusty lawn sprinkler.
You had to hold my head in his hands and shake my head like that. And I just remember thinking, I'm so clearly not doing the character I'm meant to be doing. I'm so clearly just Caroline really laughing at you, Laurie.
Now, Wendy, do you see? Do you understand what's happened?
Oh, Andrew, I feel such a fool.
It was heaven, the whole thing. It was a fantastic, fantastic day.
Do you remember the sketch, Don't Be Dirty?
Oh, don't be dirty.
Don't be dirty.
Don't be dirty. No, you were dirty.
Oh, you were almost a goner there.
You don't go home empty-headed.
Johnny, I'd like you to start first. Would you describe for us, Johnny, please, the act of fellatio? That's the act, Johnny, of fellatio without, Johnny, and I'm sure you must know the rules by now, without being dirty. And your time starts 5 seconds ago.
This is an act that takes place between two people, possibly of opposite sexes, but possibly not.
Careful, Tony.
Whereby one of the participants takes a part of the other participant's person into the place where they might more commonly keep bubble gum, say, and proceeds to masticate.
Oh, Tony, I thought you were a goner there.
Countdown, too. I enjoyed that. We did a countdown sketch.
You see, a very good impressionist. People don't realise what a good impressionist you are.
And another consonant, please, Carol.
Right. Your countdown starts now.
But I watched that countdown sketch recently, as I watch our sketches almost nightly.
Alone with just a pair of leather briefs.
With a bottle of gin. I remember thinking, my God, that's a good impression of Richard Whiteley.
And then you watched it again and realised it wasn't.
No. The impression strengthened with every viewing, of which there was one.
Good. That's very interesting. So 4 each. What's your 4 Simon Fest?
Lobs.
Lobs. So, lobs. Right. Meaning lobs, I suppose. Right. Well, let me
lob it over to you, Liz. And that's what you've got.